कि बजायो जय गौर चांदे आरती का शोभा कि बजायो जय गौर चांदे आरती का शोभा जानवी तातवाने जग मान लोबा जानवी तातवाने जग मान लोबा कि बदकी नीताय चांद बामे गददारा कि बदकी नीताय चांद बामे गददारा निकटे अद्वैत श्रीनि वास छत्रधार निकटे अद्वैत श्रीनि वास छत्रधार कि बबोशी अच्छे गोर चांद रत्न सिंहासना कि बबोशी अच्छे गोर चांद रत्न सिंहासना आरती कोरिन ब्रह्मा आदि देवगाने आरती कोरिन ब्रह्मा आदि देवगाने कि बनरा हरि आदि कोरी श्यामर दुलाया कि बनरा हरि आदि कोरी श्यामर दुलाया संजय मुकुंद बासु गोशो अधिगाय संजय मुकुंद बासु गोशो अधिगाय कि बशंका बजे घंट बाजे बाजे करताला कि बशंका बजे घंट बाजे बाजे करताला मधुर मृदंग बाजे परमर साला मधुर मृदंग बाजे परमर साला शंख बाजे घंटा बाजे माधुर मधुर माधुर बाजे शंख बाजे घंटा बाजे माधुर मधुर माधुर बाजे गौरंगीरारती का शोभा जग जन मान लोबा गौरंगीरारती का शोभा जग जन मान लोबा जग जन मान लोबा जग जन मान लोबा गौरंगीरारती का शोभा जग जन मान लोबा तगोर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल तगोर हरि बोल Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitya Gaur Hari Bol. कि बहु कोटि चंद्र जीनी वदन उज्ज्वल गानदेशे बाणमाला कोरे जलमाला किब शिव शुकनारद प्रेमे कदगद भक्ति विनोदादिके गौरर संपाद किब जय जय गौर चंदे आरती कशोभा जानवी तातवाने जग मान लोबा नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्ति वेदांत स्वामीति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाशदादिश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौरा भक्त वृंद Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Nila Madhav Radha Nila Madhav Radhe, Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra, Jaya Sitaram Jaya Lakshman Hanuman, Jaya Sitaram Jaya Lakshman Hanuman. Nitya Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitya Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Namaste Narasimhaya Praladhaladhadayine Hiranyakashipurvaksha Shilatankanakalaya Ito Narsima Parato Narsima Yata Yato Yami Tato Narsima Bhai Narsima Hridaye Narsima Narsima Madim Sharana Prapade Tavakara Kamalavari Nakam Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringam Keshavadritam Narahari Rupam Jai Jagadishari Jai Jagadishari Jai Jagadishari Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadishari Jai Jagadishari Jai Jagadishari Jaya Narsimhadev Jaya Narsimhadev Jaya Narsimhadev Jaya Narsimhadev Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Nita Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nita Gaura Hari Bol Rasne Bhagwan ki Prahlad Maharaj ki Gaur Premanande
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And you can take part in the class. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. It's too big. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Everybody chant Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Chant Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So tonight, thank you very much for coming. We're going to hear from the Bhagavad Gita and chapter 12 and verse 6 and 7. So you can repeat after me. And it says, Ye tu Ye tu sarvani karmani mai samyasya matpara ananya naiva yogena mam yayanta upasate tesam aham samud darta mrityu samsara sagarat bhavami na chirat partha mai avesita chetatsam. And I can repeat after me. But those who worship me, everybody say, by those who worship me meaning Krishna, giving up all their activities unto me and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha, Arjuna, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. So this is Krishna's promise. We should heed it with a lot of, let's say, seriousness. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha, Arjuna, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Please repeat after me. It is explicitly stated here that the devotees are very fortunate to be delivered very soon from material existence by the Lord. In pure devotional service, one comes to the realization that God is great and that the individual soul is subordinate to Him. His duty is to render service to the Lord. And if he does not, then he will render service to Maya, the illusory energy. As stated before, the Supreme Lord can be appreciated only by devotional service. Therefore, one should be fully devoted. One should fix his mind fully on Krishna in order to achieve Him. In order to achieve Him, one should work only for Krishna it does not matter in what kind of work one engages, but that work should be done only for Krishna. That is the standard of devotional service. The devotee does not desire any achievement other than pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. His life's mission is to please Krishna, and he can sacrifice everything for Krishna's satisfaction, just as Arjuna did in the battle of Kurukshetra. The process is very simple. One can devote himself one can devote himself in his occupation and engage at the same time in chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Such transcendental chanting attracts the devotee to the personality of Godhead. In other words, we become attracted by Krishna when we chant his holy names. The Supreme Lord herein promises that without delay, he will deliver a pure devotee, thus engaged from the ocean of material existence. Those who are advanced in yoga practice can willfully transfer the soul to whatever planet they like. By the yoga process, and others take the opportunity in various ways. But as far as the devotee is concerned, it is clearly stated here that the Lord himself takes the devotee back to the spiritual world. The devotee does not need to wait to become very experienced in order to transfer himself to the spiritual sky. Nayami Paramam Sthanam. 1 second. Let's just open this. Okay. Archir Adigatim Vina Garuda Skandam Aropya Yatechcham Anivaritaha. The purpose of this verse is that a devotee does not need to practice Ashtanga yoga in order to transfer his soul to the spiritual planets. The responsibility is taken by the Supreme Lord himself. The Lord clearly states here that he himself becomes the deliverer. A child is completely cared for by his parents. And thus his position is secure. Similarly, a devotee does not need to endeavor to transfer himself by yoga practice to other planets. Rather, the Supreme Lord, by his great mercy, comes at once, riding on his bird carrier Garuda, and at once delivers the devotee from material existence. Although a man who has fallen in the ocean may struggle very hard and may be very expert in swimming, but he cannot save himself. But if someone comes and picks him up from the water, then he is easily rescued. Similarly, the Lord picks up the devotee from this material existence. One simply has to practice the easy process of Krishna consciousness and fully engage himself in devotional service. Any intelligent man should always prefer the process of devotional service to all other paths. In the Narayaniya, let's say sacred Shastra, this is confirmed as follows. Yavai sadhana sampati pudusartha chatustaye tayavina tad apnoti naro narayanaya ashraya. The purport of this verse is that one should not engage in the different processes of fruitive activity or cultivate knowledge by the mental speculative process. One who is devoted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, can attain all the benefits derived from other yogic processes, speculation, rituals, sacrifices, charities, etc. That is the specific benediction of devotional service. Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, thank you, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, a devotee of the Lord can approach the supreme destination easily and happily. But this destination cannot be approached by any other process of religion. The conclusion of Bhagavad Gita is stated in the 18th chapter. Sarvadharmam parityaja mamekam saranam vraja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma sucha. One should give up all other processes of self-realization and simply execute devotional service in Krishna consciousness. That will enable one to reach the highest perfection of life. There is no need for one to consider the sinful actions of his past life, because the Supreme Lord fully takes charge of him. Therefore, one should not futilely try to deliver himself in spiritual realization. Let everyone take shelter of the Supreme Omnipotent Godhead, Krishna. That is the highest perfection of life. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this one verse, which says, "But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Prita, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death." We should take very serious attention, or pay very serious attention to this verse in chapter 12 of the Bhagavad Gita, texts 6 and 7. Yetu sarvani karmani mai sanyasa matpara ananyanaiva yogena mam dhyayanta upasate te samaham samudarta mrityu samsara sagarat bhavami na chirat parta mai avesita chetasam. It's very beautiful Sanskrit. And everything in this verse and everything in the purport or the explanation of this verse is of utmost importance for somebody who is serious about freeing themselves from the cycle of birth and death. The cycle of birth and death is a dead end. But if you follow what's being said in this verse, and which is being guaranteed by Krishna, Krishna says that, "But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Prita, Arjuna, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death." So here Krishna is promising anyone who takes a serious interest in him, he takes a serious interest in that particular person or devotee, and he's guaranteeing to swiftly or quickly deliver the devotee from the ocean of birth and death. If you only know this one verse in the Bhagavad Gita, you will attain all perfection in life. And you'll no longer be harassed by old age, disease, and death, because Krishna is promising that he will protect his devotee and give his devotee knowledge, and also help his devotee make the right decisions, and also guide his devotee back to the spiritual world. And there's no doubt about it. This has been going on since time immemorial. Today, there's so many people that are either agnostic or outright atheists. And because of that, they're only interested in science and logic. But they'll never understand Krishna by science and logic. But they can understand Krishna if they surrender to him and take instruction by a bona fide spiritual master and hear Bhagavad Gita spoken by the spiritual master. You can also read the Bhagavad Gita, but it's more comprehensible if you hear it spoken by a real devotee, and you can ask questions. Asking questions is of utmost importance if you want to understand what's being said. If you ask no questions, then you'll get no answers from a bona fide devotee, and you'll never really understand the Shastras. The whole Bhagavad Gita itself is questions and answers. Arjuna has so many questions, and Krishna is answering them. So this is the way to be educated. And we should have many questions. There's so many mysteries in the material world. How did we come into the material world? And how is my body functioning? We don't know how the body is functioning, the heartbeat, and how we make blood. No one up until now in the history of the world has ever been able to manufacture blood. If you can manufacture blood, you'll be the richest person in the world. They can make some parts of the blood, but not the whole thing. So there are many mysteries in our own body. That means that we are not controlling the body. There's somebody else controlling it. When you sleep, you're not in control of your breathing, and you're not in control of your heartbeat. You're not in control of all the chemical things that are taking place in your body. Your body is like a chemical factory. And all these things are mysterious. How a woman can get pregnant and have a child, nobody knows how that's happening. I mean, they can see it, but they don't understand how a perfectly formed child can come out of the womb of the mother. No one can do that. No scientist up until now, from the beginning of time until now, has even been able to make an ant, let alone a human being. No one has ever been able to make an ant, you see. So there are many mysterious things in our body and all around us. So here we have the opportunity to hear the person who has created everything, who is maintaining everything, and who will eventually destroy everything. His name is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No one else has more knowledge than Krishna because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He has created everything. He's maintaining everything now. That's why things work in nature. Nature works in a predictable way. How did that happen? You see, it's because somebody is organizing it. And who is that somebody? It's Krishna. Where the United States is not organizing nature, everybody is not organizing how they make blood in their body, although that's happening. They don't know how it's happening. No one knows how to, let's say, become free from death. No one knows. But Krishna is guaranteeing that you can become free from birth, death, old age, and disease. And many people have accepted to follow Krishna's advice to attain liberation from the cycle of birth and death. So we should read Bhagavad Gita very, very seriously because there's no other book that has this information. Not the Quran, not the Bible, not the Buddhist writings. No, nobody has this knowledge that's in Bhagavad Gita. So this verse today is telling us how we can swiftly be delivered from the ocean of birth and death. It says, "But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me," and the me is obviously Krishna, "and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha, O Arjuna, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. So here's a promise by God. And God, you can believe what this promise because God is validating it in this verse. This verse is the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, text 6 and 7. So he also says he's the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death, if we follow these points that he's made here. Giving up all activities unto me. In other words, how do you give up all activities unto Krishna? You direct them toward Krishna. For example, you have to eat. So, you should only eat Krishna Prasadam. Krishna Prasadam is vegetarian food without onion and garlic and cooked and then offered with love to the deity of Krishna. Now, if you don't have a deity, even a picture is good enough because Krishna is transcendental. He is present in the picture just as much as he's in a deity form. So you offer it to the picture of Krishna, or if you have a deity of Krishna, yes. And then you wait for Krishna to eat the prasadam, and then he offers it back to you. Now some people say, well, wait a minute. You offer food to Krishna in a plate. You say the prayers, and then you wait. But I don't see the food disappearing. It's not disappearing. So how do we know Krishna ate? Do you ever have that question, anybody? I'm going to answer it right now. See, first of all, you have to understand who Krishna is. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everything you see in the whole universe and in all the universes has been created by Krishna. And Krishna's body is not like our body. It looks like our body, right? You're seeing the deity here. It looks like our, but it's not like our body, because any part of Krishna's body can do the same thing as all the different senses of the body can do. Like, for example, he can eat with his eyes, he can speak with his toes, he can do everything with any of his appendages. We don't have that power. Krishna's body is transcendental, and he can do things that we can't even imagine, such as keeping the planets in orbit. Who's doing that? The United States is not doing that. They can't even keep a satellite in orbit for a very long time. Right? But Krishna is keeping these gigantic planets in orbit, and so perfectly that we have to calibrate our watches according to the movements of those planets, you see. So somebody is controlling all these incredible things, and we know what his name is. It's Krishna. So here Krishna says, but those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me. Okay, so I'm going to explain what that means. How can you give up all your activities unto Krishna? Let's say you're a CEO in a company, and how could you give up all your activities to Krishna? Well, you offer the money you make to Krishna. Now, how do you do that? Well, you use it in the service of Krishna. Just like any money we get in this temple, it's used for serving the deity of Krishna. Any money that I make, I use it to serve the deity of Krishna. Now, how do you do that? Well, you make offerings of food to Krishna. You can buy nice dresses. Like look at how the deities are dressed here. They're gorgeous. Those dresses are very expensive. Just one of the dresses costs $7,000. Right? But we're willing to sacrifice like that so that you can be attracted to the beauty of Krishna. Now, does Krishna need clothing to be attractive? No. but he's even more attractive when he's dressed opulently and with all the flowers and all the other decorations that they put on the Lord. One gentleman came up to me and he said, Hari Vilas, you are wasting the money of this temple. I said, what do you mean I'm wasting the money of the temple? He said, yes, you are wasting money. You're buying all these fresh flowers every week. And he asked me, how much do you spend on all these flowers? I said, well, I think it's about at least, how much is it? A month or a week. Yeah, $12,000 a month for the flowers. And then he said, you are feeding the Lord with all this opulent food, cooking and ghee and everything. How much you spend on food? It was close to $20,000. Yeah. And then he said, see, you're not managing this temple correctly. So I asked him, well, how would you manage the temple? He said, well, all you do, like we do in India, you get some mishri, a little bit of sugar like that, and that's all you offer to the deity, right? And as far as dresses, well, you dress them once a year. And he said, and don't buy all these expensive things and jewelry. Like he said, you can dress them like in a Halloween dress or something, This is exactly what he told me. So I told him, look, I appreciate you're trying to help me, but you're completely wrong. You don't understand anything about love of God, about who Krishna is, or how to please the Lord. So, believe me, this temple has been going on. I actually started this temple, right, for a very long time. And we've been doing this, purchasing, every month. How much is it now? $20,000 for flowers? $12,000 for flowers, right? But still, we're not going bankrupt. Why? Because Krishna promises that if you worship him with love and devotion, then he'll give you everything you need to continue. And how long have we had this temple? It's about 25 years now. And we've never had a financial problem, right? So, we have to believe the words of the Lord. We shouldn't believe the words of mundane people. We should believe the words of the Lord. And that's why he says here, but those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me. So how is that? Well, if you're working, you can't give up all your activities to Krishna, but you can spend some time serving Krishna. Just like many people come here and do seva for the Lord. They also give donations for the Lord. They also happily take prasadam downstairs. So that is giving up your activities for the Lord. And you can also help clean the temple. You can also help us in our festivals, like in Ananda Mela, and so forth. These are all services for the Lord. So that's what it means when it says giving up all their activities unto me. And being devoted to me without deviation. That means regularly we should be engaged in serving the Lord. When we come to the temple, we should ask, is there anything I can do to help you? Yes, you can sweep the floor. You can mop. You can help in the kitchen. You can drive here or drive there and get something for the deities. So there's many, many ways that you can serve the deities and also be involved in actual devotional service. Okay, so it says here, it is explicitly stated here that the devotees are very fortunate to be delivered very soon from material existence by the Lord. In pure devotional service, one comes to the realization that God is great and that the individual soul is subordinate to him. His duty is to render service to the Lord, and if he does not, then he will render service to Maya. Maya means illusion. Maya is a person, and she's not evil. She's a devotee of Krishna, but her job is to punish people who are engaged in sinful activities. Punish them to the point that they finally say, okay, that's it. I have to find out why I'm suffering like this and how to stop this. And that's Maya's job. She first gives the self-gratifier whatever he wants. He wants liquor, he wants sex, he wants this, he wants money. She gives it. And then she either slowly or very precipitously takes it away and drives the person crazy. If you see your bank account going down, 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 and then zero, and then minus zero, it makes you very, very anxious, right? So this is what Maya does. First of all, she'll give you a lot of success. But because you engage in sinful activities, meat eating, gambling, illicit sex, intoxication, lying, cheating, all the good things that nonsense people do. And they're not good, actually. They're all bad. Then Maya gives you success for some time. Then either right away or slowly starts taking all those things away. Both ways you go crazy. If it happens right away, you go crazy. If it happens slowly, you also go crazy, see? And we're seeing it happen. You know, like, let's say if you were living in Syria, well, people are being wiped out completely in Syria. You know, they're losing their houses. They don't know, they have to leave Syria, otherwise they might be killed. They don't know what's going to happen. So in the same way, even you don't have to go to Syria to experience that. You can live in a very expensive house, but you might get cancer, you might get diabetes, you might get this disease or that disease, and in your own house, you sort of wither away, and then eventually you die. So the whole point here is that we should listen to what Bhagavad Gita says. This is God speaking to us. There's no other book like this. Even the Bible. The Bible has some good things in it, but it's not as clear and direct as Bhagavad Gita. And by the way, the Bible's like a baby. It's only 2,000 years old. Bhagavad Gita is millions and millions of years old. It was first spoken by Krishna to the sun god, Vivaswan. He's also called Surya. This is millions and millions of years ago. And it was spoken lately, 5,000 years ago. Krishna spoke to Arjuna. So this is the oldest book in the world. And these other books, they're nothing compared to Bhagavad Gita. We should realize how important this book is. Nobody has a book like this. However, people are reading all kinds of books. You go to a library, there's all kinds of books you can read, and it's all misleading. It's all a type of diversion from the real thing. The real knowledge is, how am I going to get out of this vicious cycle of birth and death? That knowledge is specifically given in Bhagavad Gita. That's why this verse says, but those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me meaning Krishna, having fixed their minds upon me, O Arjuna, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. if you only know this one verse in Bhagavad Gita, you will attain perfection of human life. What's the perfection of human life? You'll be free to go back to the spiritual world with a spiritual body and be in the company of God himself or Krishna and all liberated souls engaging in wonderful and very transcendental activities in the spiritual world eternally. Okay, so this is something we should discuss now, because if this is true, this is the solution to all problems of life. Now, this is something that we should believe, but people need some help to believe these things. But many people in the past who believed these things attained liberation from birth and death and went back to the spiritual world, like Arjuna. Arjuna, when he left this world, he went back to Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha. Kunta means where there's anxiety, but Vaikuntha means where there's no anxiety. That's the spiritual world. And in the material world, there's nothing but anxiety, meaning there's plenty of anxiety. So if you want to be free of all anxiety, if you want to be free of birth, death, old age, and disease, you must carefully learn Bhagavad Gita spoken by a genuine devotee. Simply reading it, you will not understand. Why? Because this is transcendental knowledge. Therefore, by hearing it, you'll be able to ask questions. And if you ask questions, then you'll be able to understand Bhagavad Gita. Most people don't like to ask questions. That means that they're not really going to understand. They think, well, I'll just read it. But you know and I know, if you read something, very quickly you forget it. Like if you read the whole Bhagavad Gita, let's say, in 1 month, right? After a couple of weeks, you'll forget everything you read. What do you think? Is that true or not? Yeah. But if you hear it spoken by a genuine devotee and you ask questions, you have to be excited. You have to be exhilarated by asking questions and getting them answered correctly, and then checking to see in the Bhagavad Gita if the answer to your question was properly answered. You see, we're not like Sadhguru. Sadhguru says, I don't read Shastras. that means you have no way of determining if what Sadhguru says is true or false. Because he said, I don't read Shastras. So when you don't read Shastra, then you can say anything you want. And people say, well, he doesn't read any Shastras, but he speaks very nicely, so he must know what he's talking about. But you have no way of validating if what he says is true. He's very clever, you know. First thing he says, I don't read Shastras. It's a very clever thing. That means it's impossible for you to validate what he says is true or false. Right? So then you just have to surrender to him, and whatever he says, you have to just accept it, right? But Bhagavad Gita is the most important shastra in the world. And Arjuna is asking Krishna the most important questions a person could ask if they meet God and if they're serious of understanding how to become free from the cycle of birth and death. So the questions that Arjuna asks to Krishna are the most important questions anyone could ask if they meet God face to face. So this is the one book, the only book you need to read, and it will lead you back to the spiritual world. And that's what this verse is about today, 12th chapter, verse 6 and 7. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Prita, meaning Arjuna, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. This is a promise, a very, very serious promise Krishna is making here. Okay, I'm going to stop speaking now. Are there any questions? Now, if you don't ask a question, there's going to be some suspicion that you are brain dead. So I don't want to think that any of you are brain dead. So you should ask some questions, because many things that I've said just now, I can't say that I understand everything, right? These very profound statements being made in this one verse, in this one page. If you understand this one verse and the explanation, you'll be liberated from the cycle of birth and death, and you'll go back to the spiritual world. That's how powerful this book is. Just one page, one verse, that's enough to take you back to the spiritual world. So are there any questions anyone would like to ask? Go right ahead. Don't raise your hands all at once.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you
Yes.
for the wonderful class. So, the perspective of the modern folks or folks in this modern world,
Wait a minute.
the perspective
Of?
of the people
Yeah.
in this modern world who acknowledge that yes, birth and death is a problem,
Yeah.
but they say that life is too short, so let's enjoy it while we have it.
Okay.
And so though they acknowledge
Wait a
the
minute,
same
wait a minute,
problem,
wait a minute.
yeah,
Okay, let's stop right there. Life is too short. Therefore, we should try and enjoy as much as we can.
yeah, yeah,
That is wrong.
exactly. I mean, what I'm saying is,
How is it wrong? You have an eternal soul. You'll never really die. Because if you die, you'll get born again. You see, because your soul is eternal. Only the material body dies. You see, it's just like having a car. The car can die, but you don't die. See, the car can stop working, but you're still alive, right? But in a bigger sense, your body can stop functioning, but you're not going to die. You have an eternal soul. And you'll get another body based on your karma. Now, what we're teaching in Bhagavad, or what Krishna is teaching in Bhagavad Gita, is to become karma-free. So this is your last life. And you're going to go back to the spiritual world with your eternal spiritual body. This is the most important knowledge that anyone could have. In fact, this knowledge, it's actually worth millions of dollars, you see. But people take it for granted. You know, they don't want to read Bhagavad Gita. They want to learn, from Elon Musk how to become a millionaire. Okay, go ahead.
yeah, because that's what I was saying, that people are not really able to foresee the life after death. Like, they don't realize that soul is eternal, and then this is a cycle that they will be coming back and forth. But they just take into consideration this very short span which they have between the birth and death, and then say, okay, the imminent problem that I have is, I don't have enough money, so let me figure out a way to make money. Or, if I die, okay, death is imminent, there is no solution for it, so let me just go ahead and enjoy as much as I can. So that's kind of the sort of the indoctrination that has happened.
But see, it's false,
Yeah.
though, because
Agreed.
you're never really going to die. It's only your body made of matter that dies, not your soul. But your soul takes the karma that you've done during your life, and that's a mixed bag of some good things and bad things. And you're going to suffer for those bad things, and you'll enjoy the good things, right? But you're still stuck in the cycle of birth and death. You haven't really advanced in that type of life. You have to be all good, no material desires, and always engaging in the service of the Lord, and eventually developing love for God. Now you'll be liberated. Without that love, you can do all those other things, serve God, offer your money to God, do this, do that. But unless you actually attain real love for God, you'll still stay in the material world.
And yeah, thank you for that. And because that's kind of when I talk to a few people, that's their concept, and they are happy with that.
Happy
So,
doing what?
we're happy with like, hey, I
One life.
one life, and then let's enjoy to the fullest.
Yeah, but the problem, listen, there's a big problem with that. They believe that there's only one life. And when you die, there's nothing. That's not true. You cannot die. You have an eternal soul. So what'll happen to you? Yeah, you'll die, but then you take your karma. And if it was like wasting your time eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, watching movies, gambling in the gambling, having sex, and so forth, you're going to get a body of an ant or a squirrel. I mean, it's 8,400,000 species. You'll go back, you'll fall back into that whole process of birth, death, old age, and disease. And it'll take you millions of years to come back to the human form again. And then it's only in the human form that you have the possibility of being liberated from the cycle of birth and death. Right. Now, most people, they're not really listening. They don't take this seriously. It's a big mistake. But when you get closer to death, then you want to find a solution, you see. So the scientists have not really made much advancement. Yeah, they've made advancement in making, atom bombs and machine guns and things like that. They're very advanced. But they haven't advanced in understanding how to liberate a person from birth and death. So they haven't really advanced very much. So here we have the opportunity to read Bhagavad Gita. This is the greatest book in the history of the world. And it has everything very clearly explained here, how you can attain liberation from the cycle of birth and death easily. And that's why, let me read this verse again. This one verse is enough. There are many verses, but this one verse is enough to attain liberation from birth and death. It says, "But those who worship me," meaning Krishna, "giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Prita," meaning Arjuna, "for them I am the swift deliverer from this ocean of birth and death." This is an amazing statement that Krishna is making. God is making this statement. He's explaining how you can be swiftly elevated and leave the material world and go back to the spiritual world for eternal life. You should be very interested in this verse. Even if you don't understand any other verse in Bhagavad Gita, this one verse is enough to give you full emancipation from the cycle of birth and death. That's how powerful the Bhagavad Gita is. It has this knowledge that nobody else has. So we should take it seriously. Haribol. Any other questions? Yes,
Yeah, Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna Guru Maharaj.
Yeah.
One question from my side. In this
From your side?
Yeah, in
Which
the
side?
sloka.
The back side or the front side?
In the sloka.
All right, speak louder, Prabhu. You're mumbling.
Yeah, but those who worship me, giving up all their activities on me and being devoted to me without deviation. But people who are actually doing a material job or working, they are not.
it's
They
very
are not
simple.
in the
No,
temple.
I'm going to answer you right now.
Okay.
You're making money, right?
Yes, Maharaj.
You should give at least 50% of that money to Krishna. Now, you probably won't be able to do that. So, therefore, at the least, it should be 10% every month. You give to Krishna, right? Now you're giving to Krishna. Now, more than that, you should regularly hear lectures like this. You should ask questions like you're asking a question. You should eat only prasadam, no meat, fish, eggs, all that nonsense, right? And you should regularly come to the temple. Temple should be the real social hotbed of relationship and knowledge, and regularly see the deities, bow down to the deities, so forth, take part in the festivals, right? And work honestly and make an honest living and use your time and energy in learning more and more about Krishna, okay? Then you have a spiritual life, even in an unholy place like Seattle. Seattle is the most people who don't believe in God live in Seattle and Washington State. They're atheists. The most atheists in the whole of the United States is in Washington State. But even in this state where so many people are atheists, you can attain perfection in spiritual life simply by chanting Hare Krishna, eating only prasadam, listening regularly to lectures. We have them every day. I speak every morning and evening. And doing seva, right? And associating with nice devotees. So now, even in the worst place, which is Washington State, and especially Seattle, the worst place in the whole United States, you can attain the perfection of life and go back to the spiritual world. Okay, go ahead. What else do you want to say? You have anything else you want to say?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Haribol.
You have explained about the cycle of birth and death, right? So, people who are practicing Bhagavad Gita, they understand because they are hearing from you and also reading it. But the person who is not following Krishna consciousness, when they come to temple, when we talk about this birth and death, and they are first of all not interested to hear that word called death. They get tensed by hearing about that word called death. So how do we explain to them about this birth and death cycle?
Well, there would be a mistake for people who would come for the first time to the temple to start talking like that. Yeah. But by giving them nice prasadam, treating them with, actually, in the Shastra it says, you should put some grass in your mouth and bow down, do dandavat in front of the person and say, please, please, please be interested in Krishna consciousness. And we sincerely pray that you will, right? So we have to do, the ultimate thing is to basically, I'll tell you what, to make one person Krishna conscious, Srila Prabhupada said this, to make one person Krishna conscious, you have to expend at least 200 gallons of blood. You know what that means? That means that you have to really, really give all your energy to help one person become Krishna conscious. And if you can make one person Krishna conscious, you're guaranteed to go back to the spiritual world. Now, there are some people that can make hundreds of people Krishna conscious. But if you make just one person a pure devotee of the Lord, you go back to the spiritual world, and that person also goes back to the spiritual world.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yeah. So we should be very serious about Krishna consciousness. This is not a joke. This is serious. Because we're talking about the most important thing in life. How to free ourselves from birth, old age, and death. The three things that we don't want. And because we're afraid to even talk about it, because we think, oh my God, this is too negative. Let's talk about nice things. Like, let's go to the nightclub tonight in Bellevue and do the Bhangra. But no, that's not going to really help you. You're not going to bungra your way back to the spiritual world, right? We have to be serious. I mean, this is the real gist of things. We are subject to death. This whole planet is called Martya Loka. The whole planet that they're living on is called Martya Loka, the place of death, you see. So, what are we going to do about that? What's our strategy? How are we going to get free of this terrible thing? It's called death and old age and disease. How are we going to do that? You see? Well, it's explained in this book. And actually, it's explained in this verse, chapter 12, verse number 6 and 7. But those who worship me, meaning Krishna, giving up all their activities unto me and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Prita, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Here's a promise Krishna is making here. A swift deliverer. In other words, very quickly you could go back to the spiritual world. It's not impossible. In fact, in ancient times, people actually believed this and they achieved this goal. And we can too, even now, today. Haribol.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Any other questions? Any other questions? Ladies, no questions? Haribol. You have a question, sir? No? Yes? No? Okay. Anybody else have a question? You got a question? That's not a good excuse. Okay. You see, if you have no questions, it scares me a little bit because you give me the impression that you might be brain dead, right? You should have a lot of questions. There's just so many things that are mysterious in the material world. We should have many questions. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, Prabhuji. Maharaj, we believe the reincarnation, that after that we'll be getting other body and all. So when we try to explain to others, it's becoming very difficult. Like what they ask, like, okay, what is the evidence?
Evidence is Bhagavad Gita. What do you mean? Where's the evidence? This book is the evidence.
Yeah.
Just like if you're doing, if you're studying, let's say, you're studying how to build a house. So, how do you learn to build a house? You get a book. Right? How about if you want to pass a test, right? Like you want to pass a test in school, right? You get a book. Read the book. Learn from the book. So this is the proof. This book, it's called Bhagavad Gita. It's got all the answers of how to go back to Godhead. So you're learning everything from a book, aren't you? You go to school, they give you books so you can read them and learn from it. Right. So it's the same thing in spiritual life. Here is the book that will give you all the answers of how you can liberate yourself from the cycle of birth and death. You don't need any other book. In fact, the other books don't have this information. Bible doesn't have all this information. Quran doesn't have all this information. But Bhagavad Gita has all the information you need to go back to God. And in fact, this one verse that we're reading today, this is enough to take you back to Godhead. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, meaning Krishna, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Prita, Arjuna, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. This is an amazing statement. And it's a guarantee. This is the gold standard. You can't get this knowledge anywhere. No one. Can you read? Can you go to the library and ask the librarian, can you give me a book that tells you how to be free from birth and death? They'll look at you and laugh. They'll say, no, we don't have a book like that. No. Try it. Go ahead. Ask the librarian, is there a book you have that tells you how to become free from birth and death? They'll say, well, I don't know, maybe the Bible, But even the Bible, it's not really clear how you can actually be free. Actually, if you follow the Bible, you will attain heavenly planets, but you'll still be in the material world. And then after your good karma is over, you'll come back down again to the lower planets. It's only when you have Bhagavad Gita that you'll not end up in the heavenly planets. You'll go right back to the spiritual world. And that's what he's saying here. For them, I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. So Krishna will take you very swiftly back to the spiritual world. Try that. Go ask a librarian, the library across the street there. You can ask. Do you have any book that tells me how to go back to the spiritual world? Okay, so I guess we'll stop there unless there are other questions. You got a question? No? Okay. You got a question, bro? No. Okay. You got a question? You have a question, okay.
So Maharaj, like in Bhagavad Gita, like Krishna promises that like if we are engaged in devotional service, at the last moment of our life, he will give us the concessions to
Remembrance.
So like when I try to relate this story with the story of Bhartari Maharaj from Bhagavatam and story of Ajamil. So Ajamil was a great devotee like in his early life, but he got lost into desires. But like somehow in last moment he named his son Narayan, and he was calling his son, but like by his
No, he had named his son Narayan. And he was calling his son as he was having a heart attack. And that was the last thing he said.
Yeah. So basically, should we understand this as the same promise which Krishna makes to his devotees, that I will make sure that you remember me if you have done a devotional service in your life.
Well, yeah, but practice makes perfect. That's why we chant 16 rounds of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Those are the names of Krishna.
And Maharaj, in the story of Maharaj Bhartari, so
Who?
Bhartari, Jad Bharat.
Jad Bharat, yeah.
Yeah. So he was also a great devotee, but during his last years he got attached to a dove, and he was and basically in his last moment he was not able to remember Krishna, so he had to get 2 more lives to go back to go ahead. Deer, deer.
It was a deer, yeah. That's why I always say to people, don't get a dog. When you have a dog, it takes a lot of effort to take care of the dog. You have to take him out for a walk every day so he can pass stool and urine. You have to feed him. Sometimes he gets sick. Sometimes, I know one lady, she spent $4,000 for an operation on her dog. You see. So, and then the dog, I mean, a person who has a dog doesn't notice this, but if you walk into the house where there's a dog, immediately you'll smell the odor of the dog. But the people living in the house, they got used to it so much, they don't notice it. See? So dogs are very unclean, and they'll completely, catch your attention all the time, and you have a chance of, just like that person who became attached to the deer. He was always thinking of the deer, and then he took birth as a deer in his next life. So, but that's better than taking birth as a dog. No, let's say, put it like this. Simply follow what Srila Prabhupada is teaching us. You won't have any problems in life, and you'll go back to the spiritual world. That's why you have to read Bhagavad Gita with Prabhupada's purports. And here's one verse. There are many other verses like this also. This one verse is explaining how you can go back very quickly to the spiritual world. Okay? But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me, and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pritha Arjuna, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. There it is, chapter 12, verse number 6 and 7. This is your homework. You have to read this at home, the purport, and you write 2 or 3 paragraphs of what you have learned. Okay? You going to do homework? You want to do some homework also? Yes. Yeah. Vidya, you going to do some homework, or are you going to just look at your cell phone? Now you should do the homework. All right? Write what you learned from chapter 12, verse number 6 and 7. Okay? And then when you're going to show the homework? Tomorrow. Because I'll be here tomorrow. Okay. It's nice to have homework. You can also. Okay. And you also. Haribol. All right. Well, we'll stop right there unless somebody has a question. You have any questions? No questions? There has to be one question. Okay. All right, then, thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Yes, Haribol.